Hi everyone. I just got back from filming what may be the coolest video I have yet made for a number of reasons. Now, I don't want to be very spoilery about it, so I'm going to be a little coy about what exactly I filmed because I cannot make this video until after I have been to Florida. Now, if any of you follow me on Twitter, you might already know what I've done. You may not. One of you might. And one person on Twitter has actually said I should do what I just did, so he's going to be freaked out. But I had the idea before he even told me to do it. So I have gone to... Let me start over. So I've known about this thing, okay, that is in this place. I'm being really vague, I'm sorry. Maybe what I'll do... Here, I'll tell you what I filmed at the end of this video, and I'll tell you when I'm going to say it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I almost said spoilered. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you can click away. But anyway, there has been this thing that's very unique, and its circumstances surrounding it are just kind of odd. And the thing itself is kind of odd. But it's noteworthy for a number of reasons. I've always wanted to see this thing in person, but I had no reason to come here where I am and see it. So I just kind of wrote it off as a thing that will probably never happen. But then I remembered I can just decide to go and film the thing. I don't need a reason to be here. The thing is a reason to be here. Now that my job is to make videos about things, thanks in no small part to you and your contributions here on Patreon, I can go places to film things. Kind of like Tom Scott. I don't think I'm anywhere near his level of greatness, but this was the first time where I said, it's surprising how long it took me to realize I could just do this. I have the time now. I don't have to worry about school. I don't have to worry about work, mostly. Small asterisk there, which I'll explain. So I looked to see if I could get a cheap flight to here, and I could get a fairly cheap flight to here. Then I looked to see if I could get a cheap hotel here, which I very much could because of my hotel background, which I'll explain a little further. And so within a week, I had booked a ticket and now I am here and it's great. It's now about a little after 7 and I'm going to go through the footage that I recorded to make sure it's okay because I have a chance to re-record it tomorrow. But I'm literally here a very short period of time, flew out, I'm parked at the airport and I'm going to just go home. Ooh, elbow crack, and I'm just going to go home after that. So I have explained this a few times, but if you're a newer patron, you wouldn't really know. My background is the hotel industry. You may be very shocked about that, but the reason why my background is the hotel industry is precisely because my interests are with it. You know, I don't really like doing math, so I didn't really want to be an engineer, even though my mind is perhaps best fit for that. So there's an airplane. Can you hear the airplane? This is another clue. I'm close to an airport. Anyway, I basically ended up in the hotel industry because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And honestly, YouTube would have been the dream career, but I just never thought it was going to happen. So I wanted to settle into a career which would be fulfilling, allow me to use my skills, because I've always been kind of a hands-on person. I like to fix things. And hotels, they're very much in a way facilities management. And so I started in the hotel industry and I got not very far into that career path when the whole YouTube thing happened. And what I decided to do was I'm still employed technically with my old employer as what we call pool status. So I'm kind of like a on-call person where I didn't think that was going to come on again. I'm kind of like an on-call person, and so if they're short on a weekend or they need someone to work a shift, they can call me and I'm totally, like, I can say no, and I just did because they wanted me to work either today or tomorrow, and I had already booked this trip. And it's cool. It's totally fine. And I've decided to stay on this way not only because I like to go to the hotel and work and help them. It's nice to break, because you know, YouTube is kind of like you're stuck doing that all day, so it's nice to have more interaction, particularly with guests, because you know, work one shift at my hotel and I'll typically see at least 100 people. But because I'm still in the industry, even in a small way, I have access to travel benefits. And you know, the hotel industry generally doesn't pay very well, but the one thing that it does is it gives you great travel benefits in more ways than one. I work at a hotel that is Hilton branded, and so I have Hilton's travel benefits. And that means that, I'll just give you an idea of how lucrative these benefits are. This hotel stay was $35. Pretty nice, right? And this is a Hilton Garden Inn. This is not a crappy hotel by any means. The way Hilton does it is all of their brands have a set rate. And so if a team member rate is available, which they definitely are not always, but if the occupancy is low enough, a team member rate will be available, and depending on the brand, it's a fixed cost. So that night I spent in the Palmer House over Christmas, that was $45 a night. We had 2 rooms because the family was there, but that was only $45 to stay in the Palmer House. In the summer, that would be a lot more than $45, but a Hilton Garden Inn and a Hampton and Homewood Suites and I think Home 2 Suites are all $35 a night. And this is maybe getting a little off topic, but Hilton has, the one thing I really appreciate about Hilton is they make it very easy for me to book a room like this, because my OnQ ID, which is it's their intranet and their property management system, it's tied to a Hilton Honors account, and I just have to go to a specific website and then it knows I get the team member rate and I can book it right away. The other nice benefit is we get gold status with Hilton after only staying 5 times in a year. So I've been gold for the last 2 years, and basically it's worth to stay somewhere one night just to keep that gold status. So already for 2019, I will have 2 stays under my belt. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna do this, because frankly, it's not really worth my time anymore to work a shift at the hotel and take a day or more away from doing YouTube just to have a cheap hotel room, especially because thanks to your support, I don't really need these discounts. I might not be able to stay in a hotel quite as nice as this, but certainly there's Hotwire and other ways to stay at a cheaper hotel. But I'm just mainly telling you this as a story because it's neat. If you know anybody who's in, oh, the other thing is Hilton's, the other part of the travel benefits is the friends and family rate. So we can now, and this is great, all you have to do is sign up to be a Hilton Honors member, and we can tie you to our account and you can book the friends and family rate. And that rate is half off whatever the current selling rate is. Again, it's not always available, but my brother or my mom or my aunt, they're all on my account. They can just go to Hilton on their own. I don't have to help them. They just go to Hilton, look to see if those rooms are available, and they can book them right there. The only caveat is that I only get 30 room nights a year of that, and if they don't tell me they've done it, I have to manually go in and track it, but you know, that's never been an issue. That's separate from the 30 nights a year that I get as a team member if I myself am staying. So the team member rate is a fixed rate of whatever, if it's available. Friends and family is half off rack, as we call it in the industry. The rack rate is whatever your base rate is for the day. Anyway, after that long story is over, so I was able to book this trip very easily. The flight was more expensive than I wanted it to. I actually wasn't planning on staying in a hotel. If I could have done this, I would have flown out and back the same day. And you'll understand why that would have worked, because once I reveal what the subject of this video is, you'll get a little more of a clue. But, oh good, the air conditioner turned off. So I was totally willing to fly out in the morning and fly back in the afternoon. But the only flights that were available where I could do that were on Spirit, and I would have had to leave at like 6 in the morning from Chicago and get back at close to midnight. So I would be spending all day here doing, basically I would have nowhere to go and I'd waste a lot of time. So that's why with my Hilton benefits, knowing that with taxes it'll be about 40 bucks to stay somewhere, I looked for, is there a Hilton that has a free shuttle where I need to go? Yes, there is. Is it available? Yes, it is. Book, boom, here we are. And so in no small part, thank you for making that possible. And this is my small little plug to the hotel industry. If there's anybody in your family or anyone that you they're looking for a job, the hotel industry is not the worst place. It's not the best place, I'll be frank. There's a lot of downsides, and the biggest issue is that labor is vastly underpaid in most hotels. I will say that as a first job, if you can get a front desk position, like, you're typically going to be making significantly more than you would at like a fast food restaurant, but certainly you're not going to be at a living wage until you get to a supervisor level, and even then that's borderline. So it's a tough industry, but there are its perks, and one of the things that drew me to it was when you work in a hotel, definitionally you work in a nice place, because we're in the same environment that you are, and hotels are designed to be nice. So the only time, as a front desk person anyway, that I wasn't in a nice location was if I was in the back office, and that was in the large part rare, because I was mainly out with the guests where you like to be. But now I will tell you what this video is about. So I am in Houston, Texas, and I know there's a couple of you that, at least one of you, I think more than one, that lives in Houston. I'm sorry that I made this trip unannounced, but it's extremely short, and I'm literally here for a few hours and going back. I'm here because at the George Bush Intercontinental Airport, in the basement, is a people mover. And when I say there is a people mover, I mean there is legitimately a Disney people mover that Disney themselves built for the airport, and it just happened. And so here in Houston, there is the only instance of a Disney... That noise is very relevant to the conversation. There's the only instance of a Disney attraction that exists outside of a Disney park. And the weirder thing is that the whole idea of the people mover system was to be an idea for mass transit, and it did actually happen one time here in Houston. It's very weird, and I go into that, or I will in the video anyway. But that's why I'm here. I wanted to film what is now called the subway at the George Bush Intercontinental Airport here in Houston, Texas, partly because I don't know how much longer it's going to be in existence. It's kind of redundant now, as will be explained in the video, but I was also surprised at how busy it is. It is definitely still used regularly by many people, both employees at the airport and guests or travelers. So that's why I'm here. I have lots of great footage, but I want to go through it, make sure that it's okay. Because if it's not okay, my flight tomorrow is at like 10:30, so I could leave here at 6, maybe even earlier if I really feel like I need to, and get more footage of it. But anyway, I wanted to let you know where I am, what I'm doing, because I'm here because of you, and this is so cool. I think I said this before, but it was surprising how long it took me to realize, wait, I can make a video on this thing. I have the budget to do it now. Why don't I do it? So I tweeted out maybe a few weeks ago that I was thinking of coming to Houston, and is there anything fun to do? Because I was considering actually making this a lengthy stay, maybe renting a car and checking out the sites, but I don't have enough time, given that I'm also traveling later in the month. But I wanted to do I wanted to hopefully do this before we went to Florida, because if for some reason I couldn't get the footage, or if like randomly the people mover was shut down, that would be a waste. So I wanted to get it done first, and so it is done, and I'm pretty sure I have great footage. And I came here literally with my laptop bag. It just has a change of clothes and some of my stuff in it, because I'm going to walk out the door tomorrow, go right back to the airport, get on a plane, and go home. But it's really neat. I mean, I'm so excited that I get to do this. This is just crazy. So thank you for making that possible. I will close out with a clip of what the subway system looks like, and at the end of February, because I need to get footage in Orlando, let me give you, this is more spoilery. The structure of the video is, I started at O'Hare, rode their people mover, which incidentally is closed now. So I had to do this back in January. So I rode the People Mover at O'Hare. Then I'm going to talk about the People Mover at Orlando at the airport. Then I'm going to talk about why are they called People Movers, and then jump to the Orlando People Mover, or the Disney People Mover, and then say, well, did you know that Disney made a third People Mover, but it doesn't exist in a Disney park? Jump cut to Houston, where I am today. So very excited about, I think this video, I don't know if it'll do really well. My couple Disney videos that I have done tend to do pretty well, so they have more lasting views because just Disney topics tend to be that way. So I'm hoping that this works well, and I'm also hoping that people find it interesting, because to me, it's just so neat that the Disney People Mover, that system, actually exists somewhere in real life doing real work as a transit system. Even though it's severely limited, it's frankly kind of derpy looking, and has been supplanted largely by another system. But it's neat. I would imagine part of why they still use it is because it's extremely low maintenance, because of the way the system is designed. But anyway, yeah. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this little update and ramble about hotels. I'm going to make a Technology Connections 2 video while I'm here about hotel room locks, because from a guest's perspective, you might think they're more complicated than they are. They're really kind of dumb. They're like way more dumb than you think they are. And Hilton's digital key, which I'm using on this stay, is a clever trick using the same dumb technology, but with a little bit more modern spin on it. Anyway, I'll see you later.
Próxima parada es la Terminal B. Como es, contra el